And this is just the perfect transition to talk about another interesting move in the industry, as Ulysse Nardin have just announced the nomination of a new CEO with the arrival of Mr. Patrick Prugnot, and his track record is a very interesting one. Before coming back on this, let me quickly tell you my thoughts about Ulysse Nardin, because though it's a brand that I think is quite remarkable when it comes to innovation and the technical dimension of their business, well, for the rest, well, you see how confused I am. Okay, so Ulysse Nardin is an old brand dating from 1846 with a strong watchmaking legitimacy. They were highly recognized for the precision of their timepieces and produced, for instance, marine chronometers used by many navies around the world during the 19th century. Well, then the brand kind of slowly died off before it was taken over in the early 80s by Rolf Schneider and some other investors, and gave the brilliant watchmaker Ludwig Oechslin the means to redevelop the brand with some watchmaking credibility and serious innovation. To pinpoint an example, Ulysse Nardin was among the pioneers that explored the properties of silicon for regulating organ of watches, and Mr. Oechslin was a master regarding astronomical developments too. Anyhow, Mr. Rolf Schneider was a brilliant businessman, and he managed to establish the brand as a key player in different markets, and bravo to him. But where I want to get at is that despite having continued to develop very interesting products, while pretty well positioned too when you consider the technical expertise and other craftsmanship found on some of its more pieces and models, well, I think that it's quite difficult to say what Ulysse Nardin is as a brand. The notion of coherence is an open question, and it feels like they didn't really leave the 1980s in terms of design, okay? And this can be said also about their communication and so forth. So anyhow, it's nevertheless a very interesting brand, and it deserves actually a full who's who of watchmaking episode on them. And so the brand was bought by the Kering Group for a small fortune just days before Ulysse Nardin's business faced a really serious backlash, mainly because of all that was going on with Russia, which was a super key market for them. So bad luck for Kering, but that's not the reason why they can't rebound with all this know-how and intellectual property. And the arrival of Mr. Prugnot as CEO, again, is an interesting move, because Mr. Prugnot has been working in the LVMH empire, or luxury empire, and actually spent 9 years at Tag Heuer taking care of commercial distribution, among other responsibilities. But then that's when it gets very interesting, because he got headhunted by Apple to oversee the launch of the Apple Watch a few years ago. So having a clear watchmaking culture, knowing how sales and distribution work, knowing how big groups work, plus this pretty exceptional Silicon Valley experience on a product representing a big threat for the industry, well, those are all very great assets for what remains a very big challenge. But I sincerely think that it's a good move for Ulysse Nardin, and I'm really looking forward to see how things would play for them, even though it will probably take a bit of time, but let's keep positive about it.